Hi guys, it's Night Fear, and I have come on today to do my wrap up for Femme Fatale, and this was an awesome readathon. There were 12 prompts. I got 4 books read and 8 prompts completed with those 4 books. I was hoping to read some more, but unfortunately I didn't get the books done. But I will still be reading them, and so you will be hopefully hearing about them all on my March wrap up. So anyway, so let's get started. And the first book that I want to talk about is The Darkest Part of the Forest by Holly Black. Now this book I originally read for standalone, but this is also queer. It has some romance, and it's YA. So that's what what the bingo board it covered. So this is about a story about a brother and a sister who live in a town that deals with fairies. Now, the fairies, of course, are like, most fairies. They are not very nice. They're very trickster. But they have a deal with the fairies that the fairies are not going to bother the people who live in the town, but the tourists are kind of fair game. So anyway, there is this glass coffin in the forest, and it holds the horned boy, the prince. And so Ben and his sister, why can I never remember these names? Hazel. Ben and Hazel have been going since they were little to talk to the boy in the coffin, and have made stories of him, have dreamed of him, have both fallen in love with him, etc., etc., etc. So this story is about what happens when the boy escapes and how the fairies are not doing what they said. I think that's about all I can tell you. There's also a changeling in here, Jack, who is very cool. We really like Jack. I really like Jack. But you get to meet the Elder King. You get to meet some of the other different kinds of fairies. There's a monster other than the fairies. So it's a really good book. I gave it a 4. I don't know why. I can't really. It just to me wasn't a 5, but close. But I really enjoyed it, and maybe it was because I just finished this one yesterday, so maybe it was because the other 3 books I read for this were 5s, and this one just wasn't quite up to that par of the other ones. But I definitely would recommend this one, especially if you liked her book, The Cruel Prince. Yeah, I really like this one, and I'm going to be checking out some more books by Holly Black. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this one. So the next one I read was Cersei. And Cersei Falls, I read that one for Myth. Oops, you can't see that. I read that one for Myth, and it also has, it is also a standalone, and it is an adult book. So why these are different colors, the orange those are the books I originally was going to read for that topic, and the yellow is it just happens to also have to be YA or adult or romance or queer. So, that's kind of how I did this. Now the next one, this book I think it's not really like historical, like true, but it's more like historical, that these stories have been told over and over, and people did worship these gods, and it does, have a lot to do with myth. So, it kind of could, but I didn't think that's what was meant by historical, so I didn't mark that one. But that next book is Cersei by Madeline Miller. This book was amazing. This tells the story of Cersei. She starts out as a little girl and then goes on with her story until she's hundreds of years old, because of course she is, I guess, a goddess, but not really, a lesser goddess maybe, because she is the daughter of Helios, who is a Titan god and a nymph. So, I don't know. It's kind of confusing to me what exactly she would be considered, but I know they do call her goddess and consider her a goddess. The humans do, the mortals do. But it kind of brings in some of the other myths. We get to find out about how the Minotaur was created. We find out, we get to meet Jason. We get to, I'm trying to think who else we get. We meet Odysseus. And, you know, it just, oh, we meet Hermes. But it brings in some of the other stories that we've heard. And it's just, oh, it's so good. And this one, last month I had some issues with books starting out horribly, being horrible till about the halfway, and then getting better. This book started out good and just continued. I loved it. I read it in 2 days. And it's not a huge book, but it's not a small book either. I think this one's like 400 pages. Yeah, almost 400 pages. So, but this was definitely a good book. If you like myths, or, you know, like myth stories, I would definitely recommend this book. I didn't know a lot about Cersei, but this definitely, oh, it's very good. And you feel sorry for her, and you just, oh, it's just so good. I would highly recommend it. And like I said, I gave this one 5 stars. So definitely very good. Okay, the next book is The Great Hunt, and that one is for romance. I originally picked it for fairy tale retelling, and it's YA. Now this, the fairy tale was The Grimm's Singing Bone was the original fairy tale. I've never read that fairy tale, so I can't say how close this actually came to what that original tale was. But I read The Great Hunt by Wendy Higgins. Absolutely loved this book. This is another one that it starts out really good and it just keeps going. This is about a country that is being tormented by a beast. The beast comes and kills different people, and so the king decides to attract hunters that he will offer his oldest daughter's hand in marriage, because of course she's going to be the queen one day. So we get to kind of meet the hunters. We have her perspective. It does go into different perspectives. So we get, you know, thoughts from different things. There is a specific hunter that we get a perspective from. Oh, there's also magic kind of in this one, except for the magic users are persecuted, and they are called the Lashed, because when they use their magic, they end up with a line across their nails. It's purple, and as they do more magic, the fingernail becomes more and more lined. And the only way to get rid of those lines is when the nail grows out and you cut off the nail. Then that's how you get rid of it. So there's only certain people in there, usually the royal healers, that can use that magic, and anybody else, if they're found out, they're killed. So, and that's a big part of this book. We find out a lot of different things about the Lashed and history of what has happened. This was really a different kind of a book. But for some reason, I've read Beowulf before, and for some reason, I got Beowulf vibes too. Not exactly, but it just, I don't know, kind of a hint of that. And I don't know why, because it's not a Beowulf retelling. But I just did, maybe because of the way the beast was and the hunters, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, I would highly recommend this book. It is a duology, but I cannot get the second one anywhere, so I'm hoping somehow I can find it to read it. So, and this is the second one I've had like that. I'm trying to remember, there's another book I just read that I cannot get the second one. Because the library doesn't have, nothing has it. So I'll just have to wait until they get it. So, but anyway, I would highly recommend this. And I think this is the one, Murphy Napier, I think is the one that I found this book out from her. I'm pretty sure. All right, so the last book I read for this is Dealing with Dragons by Patricia C. Ridd. And that was the one for pre-2000. Actually, I didn't look at any of the other ones for the dates, but I do know that this one's the pre-2000. So, and this is actually a middle grade book, so this is one I also was reading for middle grade March. But this is Dealing with Dragons, and oh, this is such a cute story. It's a very sweet story. If you like to read middle grade and haven't read this, and it is a series, I would highly recommend this one. This is about a princess. She's the youngest daughter, and she does not really fit in with being a princess. She wants to do different things. She doesn't want to mend and sew and, you know, do princessy things. You know, she wants to learn magic, and she wants to learn fencing. And every time she does one of these things, her father gets on to her. And so he arranges a marriage for her, and she's just like not interested. She meets the guy, and she's just like, no. And so she decides she is going to run away and be a dragon's princess. And so we get to meet dragons. We get to meet all kinds of different characters and find out about their world. And she ends up with this wonderful dragon. And I don't know, it's just such a sweet little story that I really, really enjoyed it. And I also gave this 5 stars. If I didn't say, I gave The Great Hunt 5 stars also. So this is it was a really good reading week for me. I did want to get a few more books read, but I had a couple from last month that I needed to finish before they were due at the library. And so that it kind of got in the way of reading these. But like I said, I am going to finish. I did start this morning. I started 3 Dark Crowns. So I will be reading, because this week I have no readathons. So I'm going to be trying to get the rest of the fantasy books read, and I'm going to try to work on my middle grade March TBR, the ones that aren't already in another readathon, because I do have 2 more readathons. I think it's 2. Yeah, I have Spring Into Reading-a-thon and the sequel-a-thon. So I do have more. So this week is going to just be kind of playing catch up, getting books read that I need to get back to the library, reading middle grade March, and finishing fantasy. So, but anyway, guys, let me know if you've read any of these books, or are interested, or if you have any questions, let me know, because I really, especially this week, I'd really like to have you guys read some of these books, because they were, like I said, really, really enjoyable and really, really good. And my camera is not, or my phone is not wanting to cooperate here. But anyway, but yes, I would definitely recommend any of these 4 books. Like I said, 5, 5, 5. And then, like I said, I did give this a 4, but it might have been because I had read all these 3 first. And these 3 to me are powerhouse books, especially Cersei. But anyway, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Please remember to always be kind to one another, and I'll see you again in the next video. Bye!